All right, let's talk about the Asari. The ones that, according to Oteno over here, look all the same.
It's true.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel.
This is
We were
a
instrumental
fact.
in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole.
I bet you even they
Although
can't
we
deny
seek
it.
to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Okay, remember, this is her perspective on her species. And as I previously stated, she's a bit naive about things.
Uh-huh.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
I thought you always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld. Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face.
There.
It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Yeah, right in that instance, that was the point where she was being super naive. She believed that no one would actually insult her for being, well, what she is. Which, unfortunately, even in the Mass Effect universe, is untrue. Which is a terrible thing.
Yep. I 100%
How
agree.
could anyone abandon their own child?
I cannot answer that. This is all speculation on my part. It is possible she wanted to be part of my life, but something
Just as
happened
far,
to her
sorry.
before she had the chance. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Yeah, that's another thing. The age gap between the Asari and all the other species. I mean, look at the Solarian. They're only
Yeah.
40 years. That's even less than a human. By our standards, our modern society standards, like we have people going 100, easy. My own
True.
grandparents are in the 90s. My parents are in the 60s. Like, and in this, they mentioned that 150 is kind of like the max limit for humans in this setting.
Wow.
So yeah, that's like what, almost four times that of a Solarian. So that's insane. So yeah, like a species that lives thousands of years versus one that lives only like a couple of decades is kind of outrageous.
It really is, though.
And yes, there are Solarian, unions within the Massive Universe. I have actually seen them. So yeah, that's
Oh.
that's heavy.
It is.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What
It's a
happens
little
when
too
your
realistic for
partner
me.
dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
So yeah, that's about as much we can get out of her for the moment. But yeah, it's just like a lot of things are like she's been living by herself for too long, I think. She hasn't been part of the world. She's been cooped up in her own little room, just vegetating upon her like relics and ruins and stuff. So yeah, she hasn't been interacting with enough of the world to actually see it for what it is, which is honestly a good and bad thing at the same time. It's a bad
I
thing because,
100%
when she
agree.
encounters the bad people, she's going to have a hard time. But also a good thing that it kind of preserves her like worldview and keeps her more pure, I guess.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's like with all things, it's kind of like a trade-off.
true.
So yeah.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
All right. Let's make the rounds. See if anyone needs to have a talk with. She says the same thing pretty much the entire time until much later. So let's talk to Kaiden. See what he has to say.
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Dr. Tassoni. Seems like a sweet girl. Easy on the eyes. I mean, if you like the bookish sort.
Do you?
Any intentions there, Lieutenant?
No, Commander. Just art appreciation.
Art appreciation, he says, for
Oh,
the
God.
doctor. Yeah, he is correct on that. She is the bookish kind. I always expected her to have glasses in Mass Effect 1.
Huh.
Yeah, just seemed right.
Just trying
Makes
to get a
sense.
sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Alenko, when it's just you and me, you can consider it off the record.
That's a generous attitude. Okay. I think there's something wrong with all this. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
Yeah, okay. He has a very good point there.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to Element Zero in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Yeesh. Brain tumors. That's all kinds of wrong.
For real.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna go straight for the renegade option there.
I heard all about that. How companies would arrange accidents to expose people to Element Zero.
There was never any proof of that. It's not what happened in my case, anyway. My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when Kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. Bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
What about intentional ones?
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As as big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything Kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Alright, let's talk about Jump Zero, where you got the training at Brain Camp.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station,
Brain
right?
camp, huh?
What's it like?
That's what he calls it.
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
Friends?
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and Kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
Oh, a little bit of a past dig here. Did you
Ooh.
like her?
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. But things never felt together. Training.
Did you like
you
her?
Alright.
Jump Zero is a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own baggage, Commander. No bearing on this.
Okay, come on, man. You gotta give me something more than just, it's just things.
Alenko,
Just
there's
things,
no
you know.
regulation that says you can't be friends with your commander.
It's only things.
I appreciate that, Commander. I just don't want you to think that I'm a whiner. Besides, I've got my past squared away.
Just things.
See? Yeah, okay, so this is the initial stages of becoming, like, best friends with the entire crew. They mention a couple of things, but you have to sit on it for a little bit until you actually do more of the storyline and like, start digging away at them, and eventually you'll become friends. I mean, that's how it happens in real life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's me and you, honestly.
Actually, yeah.
You're now partners. What? I don't even know this dude. Fine, just do whatever. You're doing, sit-ups. Hold his feet.
It's like, okay.
He's like, okay, fine. It's like, hi. What's
Whatever,
your
yeah.
name? Hi, how are you? Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
And eventually we're doing vids together.
Right.
Oh, seriously.
It's a strange
like,
turn of events, really.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like, that's almost an organic way to do things. You don't talk
Yeah.
immediately, and eventually, after spending enough time with each other, you just,
It's like, hey,
Get to know each
so,
other.
what do you like? It's like, oh, me too.
Oh, hey,
yo.
sweet. Oh, yo, dude, oh. And then you eventually start hanging out, and then you start hanging out more, and then eventually going to each other's places, and eventually things happen.
Phrasing.
You're welcome. Intentional phrasing.
Of course. Always.
Yeah, and then you spend a night at my place.
Right.